Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouters Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouter on a Wednesday. I am back in action. Number one greatest dad. We'll get to that too. Like there's some greatest dads stories. I literally just shared it on Facebook, so we'll get a little bit to that. How you become the greatest dads. It's just not a mug, people. It's not a mug, and it's not a freaking shirt either. Number two is over here.
I got my greatest
And
dad
he
mug
has
too.
already become a Texan. I think the shirt just confirms everything.
Yeah, it's this shirt was I was asking where to get good shirts, and of course the only shirts you can get down here are cowboy shirts. And so somebody pointed me in the direction of a cowboy boot and hat store. And I walked in, I was like, this is not my place. And then of course it's almost like car salesmen. They came at me and they were like, hey, how can we help you? And I'm, just like flabbergasted by the smell of all the leather and everything in there. And it must have been the fumes, because I was like, I'm looking for a shirt for work. And then they brought me to this whole collection of very loud shirts. And I said, all right, I think I like this one. It feels good. And then I went home with it. And my wife said, you can't pull that off. And so now, because she said that, I wear this at least once a week to work.
Listen, man, I'm going to go the other direction and say you absolutely pulled that shit off. Like, I respect it. I respect it. Like, it's like a new style of play. There's going to be a new kink. There are going to be kinks and everything. It doesn't look appealing at first, but as you slowly get used to it, you can see it. Kind of like how we did in the Community Shield. Like, you can see what we were trying to do. It just wasn't coming off.
Yeah,
it's going to come off eventually.
Results in the Community Shield. I'm with Sam on this one.
Yeah.
It's going to come off eventually, though. It's going to come off eventually.
Thank you. I appreciate the confidence.
Yeah, it's like, what are those things in there? And not to mention, what did they think you were doing for work that they took you to this section for the shirt suggestions?
I don't know. That's a really good question. They must have looked at me and went, "Man, that is a cowboy right there with his with his pink shoes and his Chicago Blackhawks hat. Yeah, that guy is a cowboy. Bring him over here." And honestly, what it probably was the shirts they couldn't sell, and they're like, "This guy is this guy. We're gonna have to sell some of these shirts to this guy." It's the rack of shirts.
You'll be back.
I gotta know the name of the outlet.
Cavender's Boot Store.
Cavender's Boot Store.
I was expecting more of like Big Billy's shirts and jeans or something.
Well,
like that,
okay, so if you Google the store, there is a giant, cartoon guy with a cowboy hat. So you're not far off.
I figured the name would kind of match that.
Yeah, it literally says your Cavender's Western wear. Like, it's just
yes, that'd be nice.
There we go.
Yeah.
What are those little designs in there?
I'm assuming something that rips off Native Americans or Mexican print. I'm assuming. You know how we do it, right? We just come in, we push them all out, we take all their stuff. That's.
So this says John Starbucks. The funny thing is, we went to Starbucks. There's like a huge one. There's actually a huge one downtown. Now I'm going to go to that one over here in Chicago too. But there's like a huge one over there in Chelsea Market in New York. So we went there, and they have all these coffee flights and stuff like that. And like they brought this huge flight. I probably drank like a gallon of coffee because Angel doesn't drink coffee. And you would think the guy would be like, hey, that's for two people. But he kind of assumed I knew probably when I ordered the flights. Because I ordered another like a flight looking thing for Ange. So I drank like a whole gallon of coffee over there. But when I went to get milk, because, they give you these like three, I don't know, they're about this size coffees. And then like they give you those 6 little cups, assuming there's a bunch of people tasting them, I think. But there was a whole thing of oat milk there. And I thought of you, John, and I was like, no.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Like, Cersei says Starbucks laughs at me. I feel like baristas are grateful for me because the only thing I put in my order is oat milk. You should see the people in front of me, the people behind me. They spend like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, like detailing every single little thing for their order. Like, listen, I'd like to believe I give those guys an easy time. Right?
I know, like there are some people who come up there and it's kind of like calling like playing like NFL football.
Exactly.
Like they go on and on for like 15 seconds, and then they get. I mean, the problem is the other side is very easily able to comprehend that information, because if they told me that, I'd be like, I'm out. So I would just throw them and leave. But they're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I can't even go to Starbucks because I just get my coffee black. And I always seem like when I say that, it pisses the barista off. They're like, oh, fine. I guess I can't work my magic today. I'll just pour your coffee directly in your cup and hand it to you, you savage.
I don't get it though. As someone who used to work in food service, I would take an easy order like 99 times out of 100 every single instant.
Speaking of that, John, you gave me a 7 out of 10 for my dad joke about being squeezed out of your job, and it came off the fly. I felt like it was better than a 7. I was a little annoyed about that.
Can we go and replay the joke again, because I forgot.
Yes, sorry. And I'm here to tell you why he forgot. I don't think I ever saw John. Well, I guess I only see John at 9 a.m. in the morning, so I had not seen him with alcohol in the mix, and he was knocking down beers like there was no tomorrow.
I barely had a buzz on. Man. The only reason why I left is because the next train was at 10:30, and I did not want to get caught at 10:30 in Grand Central.
I was okay with it because I didn't want to carry him to the freaking station. So because he's too big of a dude. It would take all us three. We would have to leave the room to carry his ass over there. So I was like, this works out better for everybody. But yeah, thanks for showing up, by the way. That was kind of like cool too.
Of course, yeah. It was great to see you guys. It was great to see my man Timucin over here. Like, I was like, this is surreal. Like, I only see like a third of you at all times. Seeing like the whole of you, man. Like it's different. It's different.
It was like one of those Happy Gilmore cameos when you walked on. It was like, I know that guy.
More important matters though. What was the joke again, Gordo? Because I gotta re-rate it now that I'm a bit more.
You were talking about, they were asking you of your first job, and you were going through working at the juicer.
Right, yeah.
And then you were like, I couldn't survive. I only worked there for a couple months. And I was like, they literally squeezed everything out of you. And then you said, I give that a 7 out of 10. And I'm like, that was a golden joke.
You know what?
That's the thing with dad jokes. I feel like they're never as appreciated as they should be. It's always like,
I hear it every day from my pops. And you know what, Gordo? Let me rescind that. I'm gonna make it a 9 out of 10 because that was excellent. I probably was distracted with everything going on.
It's too late. It was during the 24-hour pod with millions of viewers, live audience. You said 7 out of 10. The damage is done.
It's too late. You know what? The next time I happen to come by and be a guest, I'm gonna make sure that I pay attention to any dad jokes being thrown, whether it's from you, whether it's from Timucin or anyone.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was good to have like a bunch of people hopping and off. Honestly, it made it a lot easier to do the 24 hours over there. People hopping on, and I think we might have gotten some like regulars out of that too, because a couple of people really enjoyed coming on and yakking with us and stuff like that. So over like the next few weeks over here, you might see some of those faces more regularly over here, because we are going to start doing the morning show every morning. So obviously we'll need more bodies, because nobody wants to just watch me fly solo. I don't want to watch me fly solo, so we'll get those people in there and get those going. So stay tuned for the socials. Obviously, our main concern right now still is the fundraiser, because it does go on till Saturday. So the silent auction will end on Saturday night, same time as the GoFundMe, and we are behind. So really, really need everyone's help in here. The Q code is on the screen. That's why I didn't change the background. If you scan the Q code, you can kind of see where to get the shirts on the left-hand side there. You can see where the GoFundMe is, and you can see where the silent auction is. The silent auction is still at like 1,083. So basically, to beat last year, we have to put together about $1,000 or so between now and Saturday night. That includes like how the auction will go up. So we definitely need to. We are 62% of our goal. I'm gonna throw the link over here, even if it's $1, $2, whatever the case might be, to be able to hear this. we need. Did that work? It did work.
It did,
It work,
To be able to hear that, I don't have the headphones on, so you can only. Yeah, let's not go into the sound issues that we had over there on the freaking. Yeah, but not to mention, John, you broke my headsets. I don't know what the hell you did. We could not undo the damage you did the entire night.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the earbuds?
Yeah, I was like, what did you press?
Listen,
Like, we
listen,
could never go back.
I didn't press shit, man. You gave me that, and it didn't work. Like I could barely hear. I could barely hear what was going on, and I recall vaguely going to you directly and going like, "This doesn't work, man." Like,
Yeah, yeah. He's like, how do you
10
turn the sound
seconds.
up? I'm like, I don't know. Just put it in your ear and deal with it.
What do you think? Like, yeah, he was like, "Put it on your ear." I'm like, "What the hell do you think I was doing, man?" Like, he goes like, "Oh, John, sub for me here," and I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then I put it on.
It was good that John there. Like I say, like thanks for showing up because it helped us like go get a bite to eat real quick and stuff like that. But it did help being standing up. So thanks for everybody again, kind of like joining us, commenting, keeping us awake, keeping us company. But I did throw the link for the GoFundMe. I will be doing it probably frequently because even if it's $1 here, $1 there, it will add up because we are, like I say, at only 62% of the goal. So to be able to get there, we need to get some bids in there. So we'll get to some Liverpool stuff, and then we'll kind of constantly probably be revisiting this tomorrow night during the regular podcast. By the way, we will do our season predictions because obviously the season will kick off on Friday. So do tune in for that. It'll be like the regular podcast time. Mecca will be hosting the festivities. We'll join in. Everybody will give their take. We'll probably get as many contributors as there as possible. I know some people like can only like jump in for like a little bit and stuff like that. But everyone thinks anything connected to Scousers has too much money. Oh, that's because, yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. We don't. So that doesn't include our GoFundMe over here. And the GoFundMe is not for Isak funds or Gehi funds. If it was Gehi funds, Kevin would contribute because it would go to Crystal Palace. But no, it is basically for the 23 Foundation. So any dollar we get, every single dollar we get goes over there, and it's still at 865. So let's get going on that. Throw $1 in there just to make it 866 because I like pressing this button over here. And
the
then
silent auction too is. Let me just say, right now, and I know what will happen. Like we talked about it before we even went on air. That the last day of that auction, those prices will skyrocket. But right now, I mean, you can get signed jerseys from a title winning team for $120 at the moment, which you can't even get the new kits for $120.
Absolutely.
So please, let's make this a little more respectable. Those should be going for $500 easy. You're not going to find that if you were trying to buy that from like a collector, an authenticator, you're not getting that for less than $500. So
for sure.
Yeah, there is a shirt signed by Hendo and Millie. And it's only going for like 130 so far. So yeah, there's some like ridiculously low prices there still that are to be had. We have the autograph books that are only going for 25. I think that's what the book is, and now it's autographed by the writer, people like George Sefton, Keith Salmon, Jeff Golding. So get on in there. Like I say, go ahead and like bids on the auction, throw a couple of dollars towards the GoFundMe, and we'll get to our goal over here. So let's
do it smarter than me. I will say this: do it smarter than me, because last year I did that, and I was like, let me help bump these numbers up, and then I walked away with like 4 things. Well, I hadn't budgeted for that many things, but here we are. It went to a good cause. I felt good about it.
It was like I say, we did totally $5,000 yesterday. We are definitely trying to beat that, especially being at like Carragher's and stuff like that. And the super chats and everything were very useful. The rest of the week, any super chats and stickers we get are going to that as well. So that was great to have. That's something that we didn't do last year. We weren't as active on YouTube. We were, but we weren't as popular on YouTube, I guess. So there were a lot more viewers and stuff this year. So any of those super chats and the stickers and stuff like that goes to that as well. We were able to actually raise some money doing that, which was nice. And the shirts and stuff like that as well. We did sell a lot of shirts at the event over there. So that was like nice to see. But let's get to the action over here. Don't say thank you, Tony. Don't say congratulations yet, because I don't see it as it done. The 24 hours is done. So the physical toll part of it is done. But I honestly, if you don't reach the goal, I will kind of not to be content with it. So we gotta really reach the goal, whatever it takes. Grab a friend by the ear. Normally I tell them to grab a friend by the ear and subscribe to us. I don't care if they subscribe to us, just have them throw a couple of dollars towards the GoFundMe. Goes to a better place. So let's make that happen. Like I say, 62% of goal is pretty darn good, but we got like what, 4 days? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yes, 4 days to go. So we should be able to get there. Match days coming up and stuff. So, but like I say, every dollar helps. People think, like, oh, what's $1 gonna make a difference? $2 make it. It does, because there were a lot of like $2 chats, $3 super chats, and stuff like that we had on Wednesday, and they totaled to quite a few amounts. So it is always good to have. Okay, let's get to some Liverpool talk. Oh, sorry, I thought.
Probably talking about
Tony, I thought you were congratulating us.
Probably talking about the Community Shield, yeah.
Center back.
Yeah.
Looks like the Leone kid is almost done. Gay is still on the talks. I really thought the Gay thing would be done the moment the Chair of the Shield is over. I thought like today, actually, we'd be talking about it. I'm actually more happy about the amounts being talked about. Gordo, where are you at with this thing? I mean, the latest I saw, and I'll pull it up real quick over here, but we thought, and actually this was like a discussion we had, where if we sign Yehi and the kid, my assumption was the kid would be loaned out somewhere. Because then, like you don't want him just sitting around and stuff like that. But what do you say about the Leone? Let's start with that one. Let's start with the Leone deal. I don't know how much you know about the kid, but in terms of the move, how do you look at the move?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kid that when I came on at 4 a.m, or it was 5 for you guys. This is the kid I was talking about when I was like, we need somebody that can play under Verge for 2 years, get his experience, and become maybe not Verge himself, but a version of Verge that we'll be happy with when it's time for Verge to move on and end his career. I really think that this is the kid to do it. I mean, he comes from a team, Parma. They finished 16th last year. They were last in terms of attacking. I don't know. It's like PPDP or something. I don't care about all those stats that they just make up. But they were the last in the Italian league for like moving forward. So they were super defensive. He played 17 games. I think they only conceded 16 goals when he was on the field, and they obviously finished 16th. So not a great team. But when he was on, it seemed like they were a good team. So I think with the pieces that we have around him, he's only going to get better. The things that I see from like early videos and stuff is he steps. Sometimes he might be a little too aggressive. That's just being a kid. You just learn when the opportunity to step forward outweighs the risk of exposing yourself behind you. And he'll learn that with Verge, and he'll learn that with Konate, and he's going to be better. Now we bring in Mark Gay, and now he's got 3 good Premier League center backs in front of him that he's going to be able to learn from. And then on top of that, if you can get both Gay and Leone and not spend 70 million, that is incredible. I mean, in today's market, how many people have come in this market? Look at Chelsea, look at Manchester City, look at Manchester United, the work that they've done, look at some of the stuff that Tottenham's looking at. All of them are 60 or closer for one player, and we're going to bring in 2 center backs for less than 70. That would be phenomenal.
Are you shocked, though, Gordo, that they are planning to keep him around? Because that was kind of up in the air until, I mean, this is coming from like Romano, but that, like they are not, like this is not for next summer. They are looking to take him, have him practice with the team and stuff like that. I mean, especially for a center back. I mean, when you joined, we kind of like talked about that a little bit. I personally feel like you kind of learn a lot of that by doing it. And in some ways, misdoing it. And, being late to a couple of things, you're like, I'm not doing that again. What I mean? As opposed to doing it on like the practice pitch. Are you surprised that, especially if the Gay deal comes across, to bring Leone in as part of that squad as well?
Maybe not. I mean, it seems like the Konate to Real Madrid has definitely died down a little bit, but like he's still not. He hasn't signed a deal or anything as well. So it could be a sense that like, well, I'd like to get embedded into this squad if Konate decides to move, or if he just says, hey, I will give you 1 more year on my contract and I'll let it expire and I'll go to Real Madrid. Then you want this guy in the system, learning the system, with the best defenders he's got around him. The other thing is, and Beckler said it last night on the chat, is yeah, we have Gomez, but we really should be treating this guy as a ghost until he proves otherwise. And so I wouldn't even consider Gomez in the lineup of center back options that we have at this point. So I personally think it's a good move. And I get what you say, because I mean, sitting on the bench and learning from people is a lot different than going out there and making the mistakes yourself. It also keeps you match fit. However, if they don't feel like Parma is the team that has the same setup, if there's nobody that Slot feels like would play the way that we do, then it's not a whole. I can see why they'd keep him back, because a lot of the times, like when Jurgen Klopp would loan players out, we'd give them to a team that we felt played a similar style, so they can learn the system, they can learn their responsibilities of what they'd be asked to do when they rejoin the team. And maybe Slot doesn't feel like he has that. He also seems like a man manager, like very meticulous in his setups. Like, I don't know if you've ever read either of Carragher's or Steven Gerrard's autobiographies, but they both talk about how Benitez was insane with the level of detail, and sometimes the players that were kind of half-assing it, for lack of a better term, struggled in his system because it was so detailed. It's one of these, like, if one of those choose your adventure books, you know. If the player does this, then we go this way, and if the player does that, we go that way. And Slot seems like that guy, so he might want to be like, I need this kid. I see this as a future. I need this kid in the system so he gets it right away. So it doesn't surprise me they want to keep him around.
How about you, John? And I guess we should talk about Gomez a little bit as well. Sider says Gomez is zero backup. I mean, this almost makes Gomez by default the right backup then in that rotation. I don't know what it tells us about like Gomez's injury in terms of when he's going to be back. I don't know what it tells about Bradley and when he can be healthy regularly and stuff like that. I mean, let's face it, if this kid comes across, he's not even going to be probably sitting on the bench on match day, especially if Gay is here too, because Gay is probably going to be there as your center back and stuff. How shocked are you that they're getting Leone on top of Gay, like they're still going after Gay at the same time, and the fact that he's not being loaned out?
A little bit, honestly. But then this is entirely new ground that we're coming into. We've been with the same manager for almost 10 years in terms of how he conducts his business, how he usually informs the front office of how he conducts his business that we're used to. And this is like our first full summer where we have Slot like actively looking for his guys, if that makes sense. So for this one, I don't know. I kind of peg him as like the project signing where, you know, it would make sense to loan him out, right? Maybe because that's what the old guy would have done. Right, but then we're not talking about the old guy. We got a different guy in charge. And listen, I talked about it during the 24-hour thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Slot would work, you know, on and off the pitch. Now that he's got his guys, now that he has the people that he wants in. So, listen, we're getting an insight into how he does things and to the kind of player profile that he wants. He handpicked this guy. Now, are we going to keep him? Probably. I'm confident that Slot's going to come in, sort of give him the 45 minutes every League Cup game, put him next to Verge, bet him that way, and I don't know. I'm sort of like it's uncharted territory, like what I'm saying, a little bit, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm a little. My boss texted me the other day. My boss texted me a few minutes ago. And kind of
you saw a boss?
Sorts. Yeah. No. Ex-boss. Sorry.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, by the way, where did you put the Jones folder? They're like,
yeah. So my laptop the other day. Explanation. My laptop, my work laptop the other day. I handed it back, and they can't log in, so they're asking me for the password. Which is why I'm a little out of sorts right now. What is
the password?
I'm giving them like options right now, and they're going like, yeah, it's not working. Yeah, it's not working. It's why my explanation was a little out of sorts, because I'm like, what the fuck was my password again? But yeah, with Leone, sorry about that. With Leone, yeah, it's intriguing to see that we're keeping him, and honestly, I would have kept him too just to see what he's about. Because clearly he doesn't rate Kwanzaa enough to keep him around, and this is his guy. He handpicked this guy. Let's bring him in, and then it's more of like, let's see what he's about for me.
Could
See, I still
also
go back
be.
to like Kwanzaa himself not wanting to be hanging around as that project, and he wanted to. I
Really?
feel like Kwanzaa was more about what I'm saying, Gordo. Like, I'm gonna get better when I play. I gotta play. Like, and he's older, so there's a different story slightly as well. But it felt like, he would, and with the buyback and stuff, it's almost like you're semi-loaning it. You got a bunch of money, and I'm sure it was part of the deal for like Verts and stuff like that as well. That and then hey, we'll sell you this guy for this much kind of a deal. So I feel like the Kwanzaa scenario is different than this one because this kid feels a bit more raw, right? Like age-wise and experience-wise and stuff like that. I guess, does it say a whole lot more about Gomez than Leone himself that he will be staying here? Because then he would end up being, ultimately the fourth guy.
Yeah, and the difference too is like Kwanzaa has a Premier League medal now, right? So it feels like he's done. He was part of a team that won the league, whereas Leone's coming from a team that's finished 16th in the Italian league. Like, this is exciting. It may have been part of his deal too. Maybe he said, I'm willing to do this, and I have a good relationship with this club. I think I can talk him down in terms of price, but I've got to be there. I've got no interest in being loaned out. I want to be part of this team. I'm fine with sitting on the bench and learning from these guys and getting my minutes in the domestic cups. We don't know sometimes the personal details of those deals. I can see it maybe being somebody who wants to get stuck in. But the other thing that I've seen so many times, and it's tough to know what's real and what's just, they're putting a fluff in the X post or whatever, but everything seems as though this was a kid that Liverpool's been targeting, that Arne Slot and the guys in the back room rate very highly. They think they found a diamond in the rough, someone that is going to lead this team for the next 5-6 years, and be the guy in that time. And so if you're going to take a gamble and you're really confident in it, then why wouldn't you want him in your setup right away and get embedded in with the team and learning from arguably the best center back in the game right now?
That's fair. Ryan says, what do these center back buys mean for Reece? Is Reece still there? I guess would be my question, and that's an answer at the same time, I think. I think we knew then that Reece and Nat Phillips and stuff were not really suitable for playing a high line, especially Reece more than even Nat Phillips, I thought, for that high line in terms of like how they turn around. I mean, if you turn around like a tank, your pace does not matter. It's a lot of being able to kind of turn and run, kind of an ordeal. I think they did the job. And I think, a kid like Reece can be a pretty solid center back under different system. I just don't think, he is one, Liverpool quality, and two, is fits for the system overall. So I guess I'll ask you that. First of all, what was the password?
Oh, it was welcome my initials JB 2024 with an exclamation point. So the issue was they kept using it without the exclamation point.
Oh.
I told them to try it with.
I mean, I assume that's something that they came up with, or did you set your password?
No, I
welcome?
didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't set my password. They come up with that. Yeah. If I
that's
set
why
my
it's
password,
really odd that they would. Oh, I think that's the good.
Hope no 1, 2, 3.
Honestly, I expect John's password to be passwords. Nothing added over there. But okay, so I'll ask you that then. What does it say about Gomez?
Yeah.
John?
What does it say about Gomez? That
or what do you expect Gomez's role to be if both these guys are coming in and Leone is staying there?
What do I expect Gomez's role to be? Is found money. If he's healthy and if he can be used, great. If not, we have these two guys that we can use in a pinch. Because, I mean, as much as we like Gomez, that 23-24 season, last season under Klopp was an outlier, kind of like how we talk about Konate a lot, where last season's healthy season was an outlier. Gomez's last healthy season was the outlier amongst the constants. And unfortunately, as much as I like the guy, we can't rely on him. And Slot knows that. He's a little bit more ruthless, right? He took out he took out Luis Diaz, who was their second best attacker last year, just like that. And he doesn't have any loyalty with these players. So if he thinks Gomez is not to be relied upon, it is what it is. And from a practical standpoint, yeah, right? Like, I don't think anyone in this panel would disagree that we had to absolutely get cover for that third center back instead of relying on Gomez. Right?
But now we're talking about 4 center back.
Well, the other one, I would say it's 3.5 because the other one I deem, like I mentioned, a project signing where he could feature here and there, be that emergency first choice CB if God forbid we lose like 2/3 of our center half front line like we did in 2020, 2021. And it beats relying on Gomez, right?
You could consider Leone and Gomez as one player.
Exactly. Is what I'm trying
and
to say.
so now we've got one cover for each of the center backs. So technically, the way we should be thinking about it is we've got 4 center backs, which is what you want. You want at least another rotation inside, just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair because, I mean, are we on the same page? I mean, I don't know. I'm a big Gomez fan. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like thinking like this.
I'm a
and when
big
he's
Gomez
healthy,
fan.
I like him being out
Right.
there. I mean, it's a no-brainer if Gomez. Okay, give me your depth chart, Gordo, with a healthy Gomez.
With it. If he's healthy,
We're gonna go
and
with
you
these
can
5 center backs. Give me your depth chart of the 5 center backs.
Oh man, you get 15 to 20 games out of Gomez if he was healthy, in my opinion. Because if you look at,
so
if
he's
you look
what,
at
3 or 4?
I would think he's 3.
Oh.
If a healthy Gomez, like if we knew for a fact, because I think if we get midseason and he proves himself, because right now Slot doesn't really know Gomez, right? Because he hasn't been fit for very long. I would assume that if Gomez get back to the height that we know that he can get to, that we've seen him get to, and if he's consistently there, I think he moves up in the chart on his own. So like end of the day, fit Gomez where Slot's seen what he can do and provide. I would say Gomez is 3rd. Just
so
reliability.
Gomez is over Gahey?
Right. I'm just like, I'm surprised.
If we're bringing Gahey in. Okay, all right. Well, that's different.
Yeah.
I would actually say Konate is probably 3rd if we bring Gahey in my
Really?
opinion.
Okay.
Ooh, that is a spicy take, my friend.
That is a spicy take. I mean, and I don't know.
This is
a good battle for it.
The way that I would do it, I like Konate, but the way that I would do it is, hey, dude, like right now you're playing us for a contract. We don't need you. You want to do that to us? Like we've got other options. And I put Gahey in. He's got a brand new contract. Ferg just signed a brand new contract. Like, hey, these guys signed contracts. We know this is our team moving forward, and we'd like to develop this partnership. And if you're not willing to be a part of this project, then you could be 3rd choice.
Counter argument though, Gordo, isn't he the best at what he does, covering that right flank? When we have a fullback bombing forward, and we saw how much of our 2 fullbacks love bombing forward in the Community Shield, leaving that absolute massive gap, right?
Yeah.
And we saw too many changes in the back line. Like the communication between Verge and Kirkez was not there, so maybe the communication between. Like I love it. I totally agree. But I'm looking.
Trevor would approve that.
Right. I am with the pettiness, but then at the same time, like we talk about it a lot, Tim. Right. Like at the same time, we have the ideal guy who covers for a bombing fullback who is used to it, even because we had Trent and now we have Frimpong. Like Frimpong tracks back, but he still likes to go up. If that makes sense. Like how much are we willing to sacrifice? In the name of pettiness, I guess is my question.
But I think what we've been talking about is you sign Gahey, and he's already Premier League bedded, right? He's got that metal to him. I think that a player like that figures it out very quickly that, hey, this is my responsibility, and kind of moves into that. I was going to say slots into that role, but I feel like that pun is just overused at this point. But I think he fits that role. I agree with what Tony says. You start off Verge and Konate, right? Because that is the partnership that won you the Premier League. You give that to them. And then you do what most managers do is you kind of test the waters with some of the new guys that come in. If we get Gahey, because that's not a guarantee right now. It looks like it's going through, but we've seen so many of these where it looks like it gets over the line and then never happens. So fingers crossed that comes in. And then you give him a couple games and you let him earn that spot. You have like let's say he does sign and we go to, let's say Chelsea on the 4th, right, of October.
Right.
And he lights out against that attacking threat of Chelsea. And it's Gahey and Virgil van Dijk. And then Konate's now got to earn his place back in. So I think you start the season off with Virgil Konate, but I think and it's not so much pettiness because it's a business, right? And like these guys have bought into the project, and right now Konate, even despite winning the Premier League, has not bought into the contract. Is flirting with Real Madrid. It's just, you don't want to be a part of this. That's fine. We don't need you. That's fine.
Oh,
I'd like to keep him around because I like him. But
don't sugarcoat it. It's pretty pettiness. I'm not totally against it, but it's pretty pettiness because if it was just business, you wouldn't kind of like care about that. You'd be like, whatever is good right now is what you would do, right? So it is pettiness. Now, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying, I'm just calling it out for what it is. It is pettiness, and it looks like the chat approves it for the most part too. I don't know. I guess my only thing is because I do put. You're not going to probably put Gomez up there. I mean, it would be a matter of form, I guess, more than anything else, Sean. And that's what you kind of want the competition. I think you have it in multiple spots now. And maybe it's something we lacked before. We kind of like complained about before. Now I sense like because people cannot definitively say this guy's going to play here, this guy's going to play there. Let's face it. I mean, there was an era during the Klopp era where I think we argued over one spot in midfield or something like that when we were deciding lineups, when we were doing lineup predictions. Everything else was just like already like put in there with a pen, and then you just had like one name with a pencil that everybody filled in, kind of a deal. Whereas now, you look at left back, you look at right back, if Bradley's healthy, and I think you're going to have a similar thing. I guess my bigger deal is if Gomez is healthy, and I do realize before everybody like loses their shit again, it is a big if. But when he is healthy, I agree with Gordo that the conversation is probably like, is he 2, 3, or 4 and stuff like that? To me, that's what puts the Leone thing a kind of a surprise, because then you're not going to see much of this kid. And as long as he's content with that, I guess it's all fine and dandy. Like how much playing time he's going to get is not our concern as long as we have the depth.
My interpretation for that is Slot doesn't believe in the if Gomez is healthy. He knows Gomez will not be healthy. Is why he brought this guy in. He's looking at the sample size and he goes like, oh, out of 7 seasons, this guy was only reasonably healthy in 2. And I think that's a gamble that he was willing to take for Leone.
Already injured in preseason, so it's like
right. Like literally was that first second game, I was like, are you serious right now? But then at the same time as well, is why I mentioned Gomez being healthy is found money. Like that is a manager's headache if I've ever seen one. If you could have him like play 15, 20, even 25 games this year, it would be more of a horses for courses kind of thing. Are we playing against a team that won't even bother attacking? Maybe we could get away with putting Gomez here because he's pretty decent on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean? Like it's a good problem for Slot to have, but unfortunately, like I'm a convert, right, to the Joey G cult. Like I love him, but more often than not, we're not going to have this problem.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with I rarely agree with Saidu, but I do agree with that. I think it's I worry that they know obviously more than we do. I'm not worried about that part of it because they hopefully do, but I'm worried that they know something we don't, where Gomez's deal is a bit more questionable, and they fear. Well, we always fear about Gomez, and I feel really bad because I really like him as a player, as a person, like how he carries himself despite all these injuries. Like he's always been there and stuff like that, and he's like kind of like a stand-up dude from all looks of it. So I do wish he was healthy, but it's not. I'm assuming this is Gally not signing up always, because speaking on behalf of all of us, but I'm going to put this on Gally. Outside of fitness, I don't know. I think either it was to send a message to Konate, and it doesn't matter what Kwanzaa would have done on that first half. What do you think, Gordo? Like in my scenario, if we're going to do a conspiracy scenario, see, it is him. Like you can kind of tell. You can tell kind of by the comment because it was pretty long too. But no, I'm gonna
it was all punctuated correctly and everything.
Yeah, he put effort into it. Right. Most of us who are logged in the same, like me, John, and stuff, we don't.
Kwanzaa spelt wrong. That would be me. Everything would be lowercase. No punctuations.
No, I guess my scenario on that one is it was always going to be Konate, but maybe it was Slot's way of saying it's not a guarantee to give him kind of like a push, and that's why Kwanzaa looked like on paper ahead of him. Do you buy that theory? Because to me, if that wasn't the case, a one half bad performance should not throw you all the way to the bottom.
You know, I'm going to use an analogy I don't normally use, right? It's kids baseball. So you've got this kid who probably last year, because obviously it seemed very clear that he wanted to be a part of it, and maybe he had the talk, and Slot was like, you're actually third on the pecking order, and he's probably sitting there, why? Like, Klopp like me, I was playing an awful lot under him. I can do better for you. I'm getting older. I've learned under Verge. And Slot's just like, all right, let's see what it was his audition, right? And put a lot of pressure, knowing that he was going to take him off anyways. And it had nothing to do with Konate. It was more like all right, you want to play, let's see you play. And already didn't have the confidence maybe that he was going to be a number 2. And he saw what he did with it was something, in that press conference, that famous press conference, when all of us were like, wow, this guy's ruthless. When he was just like, yeah, he didn't win a single aerial duel in the entire first half. He lost 5 of them. Yeah. And that was enough for Slot to be like, okay, you have no business being my second choice. It had nothing. I don't think it had anything to do with Konate.
So you're saying, I mean, that basically says if Gay is there and doing his thing, I kind of like how he builds play and stuff like that too. And I agree with Gally here. I do think, knowing what can happen next summer, now if Konate goes, aside from not getting anything for him, we're like, whatever. And honestly, if things go well and you see some things from this kid, maybe you do consider Konate, moving on Konate in January, especially if Gay is already above him in the pecking order. And maybe if you have a healthy Gomez, it's something you can consider. Worst case scenario, he leaves for nothing and you already have the replacements. You're not going to go into a market where everybody knows Liverpool needs a center back and raise their prices because you already got this kid in the door to be kind of like the long-term replacement. Kevin says, and Kevin, I know I would have liked to get a plate myself on Sunday. I got a plate of wings at night, so that was good. But I mean, we're talking about a game that was lost on penalty kicks, number 1. So
wasn't our first choice midfield as well.
And it wasn't the first choice midfield, and I don't think we got beat in midfield, first of all. I mean, they were all long balls. That's how Crystal Palace. It's not like Crystal Palace, a team that plays through the midfield and builds to the midfield and beats you in midfield. It was all balls sent over the top most of the time to Munoz and stuff like that. So it's not like it wasn't a midfield game. I have zero concerns about midfield. The only concern I have is now there's a lot of the center back talk. That was one area of concern. The other area of concern is, John, is the depth up top. I'm not even going to get to I didn't see anything new on Isak, so I'm not going to rehash the same thing for the 80th time over here. But do you, I still think whatever we're doing with Leone, and waiting for in 3 seconds for Gally's Fofana comments, but we need something like that, something similar to Leone for the front line, so that if you get Isak and stuff, that's fine. He just gets he trains and learns under them. But if we don't, you have some depth over there, because that's probably the only concern I have is the options to bring off the bench if you're not liking what the starters are doing.
Absolutely. And there was a point where I think we subbed out Ekitike. I was like, who's he bringing on?
Yeah.
Right? Last Sunday, I was like, who the hell is he bringing on? Because we're looking at the bench. I mean, Chiesa, I barely count him as an option. The guy played 3 games last year, right? Slot clearly doesn't rate him. Nugumo, a 16-year-old kid, we kept hyping up, didn't play a single second, right? So that I think that kind of crushed whatever hopes we had for him. In a game that semi-mattered. Slot didn't even consider him.
I don't think it was approached as a game that had to be won.
It wasn't.
Priority, I think for any team, probably for Palace too, they did a bunch of substitutions. It wasn't that's not the substitutions they would do if it was the FA Cup final or, if it was something else where, there was something more important to be won.
To John's point, though, if you're not going to bring Rio in a game like that, then you're not going to bring him on in a Champions League game either.
Probably not, and that's what I've been saying all along. I don't know if it's too early for him, and I don't know. Like you were saying, John, there wasn't really a whole lot of options that you could say, "Oh, this guy can come in" and stuff. Right. And I know if Isak is there, then more than likely maybe Ekitike is the guy that comes in, or Gakpo is the guy comes in, or whatever. But it feels like you need a Leone type signing over there.
Yeah, I agree, because like, listen, if we bring Isak, all well and good, but then we still don't have a natural left wing, a senior left wing player. Like, I get that technically Ngugomoa is kind of being counted as a senior player, but he's 16 years old. So if we bring in Isak and only Isak, what? We got Ekitike playing at the left wing, which he can play, but he can play doesn't mean that it's his natural position. And we're still losing, we're still missing that kind of player that, you know, I would have loved to see a Luis Diaz coming in the second half against that Crystal Palace, someone who'll just get the ball and then take it upon himself to give us some intent towards that second half, because at some point we looked like we were coasting a little bit there. We were missing that kind of player off the bench. So I totally agree with you with what you're saying, where Isak plus another dude who can play maybe 2-3 positions even in that front line, that would be just perfect. Like 11 out of 10 window, right? Like as good as, you know, we were talking about the game, right? Before it started, everyone was like, oh, look at how we're going to see how a new look Liverpool did. Yeah, we did see how a new look Liverpool would look. It's looking a little bare bones in attack. If we would need some subs, is all I'm saying. If Mo's not firing, if Gakpo is being, you know, his other half, like if he's the bad side of his two-faced half, what? Who do we got off the bench? We don't got much.
Yeah, right? I mean, unless you try, but I mean, here's the thing: if you do sign the only type person, then Gordo, I mean, how is it any different than, you know, giving Rio? Unless it's like an established 21, 22-year-old you're bringing in who has like already a lot of experience at top level, you're kind of blocking off, you know, like Rio. And I don't know, I don't see Bandok being a long-term replacement either. I feel like, if anything, Rio is a guy that we know we're going to stick with, and he's going to be here 5 years down the road. And I don't think the same of Bandok, for example. But I do think, you know, these young kids, unless you're bringing somebody really proven, then you're just like blocking the young kids at the same time. How is that going to be indifferent aside from having a new toy?
Yeah, I can see that. But at the same time, you know, this decision that I'm glad I don't have to make. I'm glad I'm not in the back office, because you want this. You don't want to be a club, like just a buying club, where you're not bringing kids up through the ranks, because we've had so much success with bringing kids into a team. And, you know, basically like with Trent, right? We didn't buy him. He's been with the club forever. So it was free money, and he became one of the best, you know, right backs at across the ball in the game, and won everything there is to win under the sun. And so you'd like to keep doing that. But at the same time, if you are in a title defense, this is something that we've been begging for the last 5-6 years when we started winning a lot of trophies, was we need to build on this team, and we just haven't done it the way that I think that we've all wanted to do it. And now we're in the position to do it. And I think you have to make that decision of, do we want to be a club that raises players like Ajax, or do we want to be a club that wins trophies every year? And in order to do that, you have to have players. You can take gambles, right? Because he's gonna get his chances, right? There's domestic cups, but if we want to challenge for 4, deep into 4, then you're going to need to have adequate position coverage in all areas. And I mean, it probably is similar to the Leone thing in the sense that maybe Slot's saying, hey, if we bring Mark Gay in, we've got a 4th position open that needs to be fought for. We'd like 4 center backs, and right now we don't know if we have 4 center backs. Yes, there's a body there, but is he going to be fit? Is he going to give me what he needs? I don't know. So you can come in and fight for it, or we can loan you out. And maybe that was the decision talking. And probably the same with Rio, right? Is there is an opening for, you know, 5th, 6th attacking option. Are you willing to fight for that, or do you want to be loaned out? And I think that a kid of his talent is probably willing to, you know, practice every single day with the likes of Mo Salah. So yeah, I think it's probably a two-way conversation. It's club and player just sitting there like, this is the reality of what we have. Are you willing to play for it? And, you know, we are still looking to bring in another option, a solid option. But if you can establish yourself, you know, the floor is yours.
I mean, so just as we've lost and sold a lot of players, I mean, I mean, I don't take it as, it's not one of those summers where we're just like, oh, like even for like a for like replacements or anything like that. I mean, some of the guys you brought in are like top guys. And I think we're kind of forgetting some of the, because we lost on a penalty shootout, I think some of the positives are being forgotten. Like Ekitike's performance, I loved watching his interplay. I thought he was really good. You can see some of the ridiculous things like Wirtz can do. I think you just needs clearly, more time to kind of see things in the long run. I almost felt like when we were up 1-0, we did a bit of an overconfidence trying to like walk it in the goal kind of moments here and there. And I think, you don't do that, you get the goal. And that's why, I mean, I was saying it after the game when I like the very last few minutes, where game like this is better than beating Palace like 3-0 in Charity Shield. For like against the Bournemouth game going into the season, I think this is a better game to say, hey, we gotta kind of like focus, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, a lot more learning. And I don't know, like there was like a lot of like, of course, somehow everybody picked Jones out of that entire equation, whereas he was nowhere to be found during the penalty shootout or anything like that, where we actually lost the game, mind you. He was like semi-invisible. We were talking about it with Bickler. That's when Gally was working the floor, I think, like where he was invisible at times, but I think he was doing the dirty work behind the scenes, but then he wasn't losing any ridiculous balls that we saw, like Soboslai lose, McAllister lost a couple of times that turned into instant dangerous situations either. So you kind of have to take that. It was kind of like a neutral performance by Jones. I have no concerns about this midfield. It just needs time. You added a lot of pieces in there, and your boy Gravy was not there, John, to kind of like, keep everything together, be the defensive part of it. Soboslai can win balls, Jones can win balls and stuff, but there's a difference of kind of controlling things and setting it and all that kind of stuff. But more importantly, it's time to do this, because we did just get, I should add this to the stage over there. So we are up to 900 now, because we did get a $35 one from Smoke Show. We're up to 900. You can see it over there. That's 64% of what we got to do.
Gally calls himself Smoke Show in the
Smoke Show
fundraiser.
It is. You don't want to know why, but yes, it doesn't matter if it's $1, doesn't matter if it's $2. Everything is going to increase that. So I'll throw the link in here again.
If I buy a shirt, Tim, it goes to the count, right?
Yes, it does.
Because I forgot to buy a shirt when I was there.
Or you can bet on a shirt in the silent auction.
Yes, or that.
That's a bit out of my price range, my friend.
No.
They have
shirts are available in the silent auction as well.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
So you can bid on them on the silent auction as well. And we're not going to, obviously, once this is over, we will not be selling them. So they are, in that sense, limited for this week only. So yeah, go ahead and if you scan the Q code, there's a link that will take you to the shirts as well. I threw in the bid for the link for the GoFundMe, and unfortunately we haven't done any bids as we were on air on the silent auction, but I'm hoping that's going to keep going. And don't be that cheapskate that's waiting till the last minute. This is not eBay. This is for a good cause. So you're not selling to a seller. I saw a couple of people saying like, oh, there's going to be some good deals and stuff, which is great and all, but really when you're bidding on a silent auction that's going to a foundation, the goal is not to nail a good bids. Ideally, the nail is to get something at a good value that also helps a good cause or everything. So as we wrap up over here, I didn't want to talk way too much about it because I'm kind of like sick of talking about it, but I want to get percentages from you guys for the Isak ordeal. John, the timing fluctuates, right? I personally don't think, even if it does happen, it's not going to happen until the end of the month after the Newcastle game. But with everything that's going on, where he's saying he's not going to play, the word is out that he said he's never going to play for Newcastle. And Newcastle can play hardball if they want. I doubt they would. There's nothing to be gained from there and stuff. But where are you at? Percentages. Give me a percentage.
90%.
90? Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fact that he doesn't want to play anymore, it's just the Coutinho situation all over again with the bad back and everything. Like, they got to make something out of this. And I saw this tweet the other day. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt because it's from X, but with the amount that Newcastle spent this summer, they got to balance the books somehow to avoid, PSR penalties or whatever. So they got to sell him, right? They got to sell him, and the fact he doesn't want to play anymore is pretty telling. So it's why I'm really confident. And like I mentioned earlier in the summer, like, you know, we got our guy Wirtz. Now we're going for Isak. It's a different. As much as I hate the fact that, you know, we hate it when our players act this way, right? When they try and force a move to get out of the club and go to, like, let's say a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or something. It sucks, but then at the same time, it's the reality, right? And the reality is I feel like there's a 90% chance we get Isak done, you know, by the end of this month.
Tony says 100% last day of the transfer window.
Last day.
Yeah, Darwin says hybrid recovery. Yes, honestly, today is the day I recovered, because like literally passed out around like 8:30ish last night and got up at like 6 or something this morning, and 9 hours a lot for me. And now I'm like, voice is coming back. Oh, and that'll be the last thing I get. What is your percentage, Gordo?
Yeah, it'd probably be in the high 90s. I'm with John though, because there's two sides to this story, and there always is, right? It's the club side where Isak made it known very clearly at the beginning of last year that he wanted to move to Newcastle. It was the right thing to do. It's not what a lot of players do. He went to him and said, I've got no interest in continuing to play. I'd like to move on. Newcastle knew that, and they are the ones that are dragging it out. So now he's got to force himself and play dirty. The other side, as John said, is you put ourselves in their shoes right now. And if Isak was our player doing this to us, we'd be a little annoyed as well.
Yeah.
So, and the longer it goes on, the less and less I want a player like this in the team. But then again, like I said, you have to remember, I think it may have been in March or April. It was close to the end. It wasn't the end of the season, close to the end, when he said, I've got no intention of staying here. I'd like to move on. And I think that says a lot about the player. And it really is Newcastle as a club that's kind of turning this into a big saga, just throwing their rattle out of the crib, in my opinion. But it is making him look rather like a villain.
Yeah, I mean, where are you at with that, John? Because I do see a lot of that online, in terms of like, do we want a guy like this? Do we want a guy that's doing this and stuff like that? Because he's gonna do the same thing to us and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what more people are worried about, because other players have done it in different forms. I almost feel like, I mean, obviously there's like a lot of reports coming out that's, he had already said he's not gonna, and I don't know if that's damage control, but either way. And I got a lot of hates earlier this morning I saw online, which really, like, and Newcastle fans are like really flattered that we talk about him, by the way. But just so that you guys know, we could not freaking care less about Newcastle if it wasn't for Isak. And you want proof, the 10, 15 players Newcastle has gone after have not given a damn about Newcastle. When players pick United over you, don't come over here talking like feeling all special that we're talking about it because you have a player that we want. That's about it. The moment we get that guy, nobody's gonna care about you guys again. But where are you at with that, John, in terms of like how he's approaching it? Does it bug you at all? I guess
it bugs me to an extent, but it's just business. You know, if he comes in, we bring him in, he starts acting out. I'm confident with this front office that we don't get shoehorned into this position where our backs are against the wall. We have to play hardball, but at the end of the day, we know that we're fucked. Like, if he tries to pull this off with us, I think we sell him immediately and we reinvest the money into multiple pieces that are going to be great for us. Like, we just talked about it. We're getting Mark Gahey for half of what he was valued a few months ago, and we're allegedly. Allegedly, right? And a young center back that has all the potential in the world. Like, this front office has done wonders, you know, this summer. And I guess my confidence in this front office, Edwards, Hughes, and all that, it just outweighs any fears that I would have for any player who tries to pull this off. We got 10 million off of a free transfer, for crying out loud, right?
Just to play in a useless tournament,
right? To play a useless tournament, like these guys can pull absolute.
And they didn't win at the end either, but
right? These guys can pull absolute rabbits out of their hats. Like I'm like 1,000,000% confident they can work something out if it comes down to it.
Darwin says, do you think us signing Leone will make Chiesa stay? I mean, honestly, that's funny because when we talk about Leone, we never mentioned the fact of the Italian aspect of it. I think it was mainly we talked about age and experience and stuff like that. I don't think it makes any impact at all. I don't even know what's going to happen with Chiesa. Honestly, if there was a market for Chiesa, I think he'd be gone, similar to Nunez. I just don't know. But you don't know what's going to happen. The first, like the leagues are starting. So these next 2 weeks, some teams will start pressing the panic button. And, like if there was a concern going into the season about an area and then it gets exposed in the first week and stuff. I mean, let's face it. I'm sure that's not the main reason for as far as the fans are concerned. We went into this game with the same squad that we had the day before, and people who were not concerned suddenly were like losing their shits because we need the center back, we need this, we need that, and stuff like that.
Never please everybody.
No, unfortunately not. But that's why the tough start to the season schedule-wise is semi-concerning, but I mean, like I said, they're not going to get. Somebody said, I think it was Serzi said it's going to get done by Monday. I do not see, even if it does get done by Monday, it won't get done by the Monday afterwards.
The thing is, did he mean the center halves or did he mean Isak? Because I think he meant Isak.
He meant Isak. That's why I'm thinking, unless he's talking about Monday after the Newcastle game, it's not that Monday.
It could speed it up, though, because here's what Newcastle is like, tagging Liverpool along, and then all of a sudden they go and sign 2 center backs. It's like, oh, they're running out of money. Like if we don't sell now, they're not going to need him. Obviously, they're comfortable with going after whoever they want, and I think maybe kind of putting that to bed and then buying 2 center backs is enough, maybe to push that deal along, maybe a little faster than we're expecting. But I'm with Gally, and I think it was Tony that said it. We're basically like, it's probably last day of the season just to save face. It's a publicity stunt.
I think it's a lot of that too, right? They're trying to play safe and look like, they're doing everything. They're making it difficult. I mean, that's probably to please the fans or maybe to show the other players that this thing is not that easy. Because if it is that easy as pouting, I think then next year they're going to have an issue on their hands, especially if they can't bring players then. Because like I say, if it was like our Coutinho thing, where they said, hey, we got this money, now we can go get people. But they had the money and they couldn't bring names. So I'm sure they're concerned about that and they have to save face somehow. I know there was like a couple of talks about like Ramsey. I don't know if it's official yet or not. Because unlike what Newcastle fans think, I do not follow Newcastle transfer news as closely. So, but we'll call it for today. We will be back tomorrow night. The whole gang, as many of us as possible. Some of us will probably be just jumping on to give our season predictions, but do tune in for the Thursday night podcast, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm glad Mecca runs the show over there because I do not have the voice to be able to manage that ordeal at all, but we'll try to get in as many of us as possible, get our predictions in for the season, already throwing it on Discord, but we'll discuss all that. Do tune in for that. Do not, what was that? I'm sorry?
No, I got to do that. The one that Matoush posted, like prediction.
Yes. I mean, I kind of save it for last. I actually think at the end, I forgot to post it on there, but I had said it on air. So there's that. It's always on records. If you want, Matoush can always pull receipts and tell you what you did or did not say somehow. He can put that out there. But don't forget, like I say, I mean, if you really want to help us out, you got to help us out on this fundraiser more than anything else. So, and we're still at 964%. Do need your guys' help. I will ask till I'm blue in the face because it does mean a lot to me. It does a lot mean to the channel and all the boys over here. So do chip in with that. If you can't do anything with it, share it because somebody will be able to put $1 or $2 or $5 in there. Let's get to 64 to 100. That's basically all we need to do to beat last year. So have a
come on. What do you hate, kids? Come on.
Yes, anybody should be able to throw something in there, even if it's $1, because it goes a long way. And honestly, sometimes $1 or $2 you throw in there, somebody else will see it and be like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that." And then if a bunch of people see that, we're there. 64%, 36% to go. So let's make it happen, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Take care.